Hi, Catzcradul here. I should be cleaning house today. Christmas break is over and Prepper A has gone back to school, and I have a day to myself before I go back to school, which is tomorrow. But all I can think about is, what can I teach my friends on YouTube today? And I'm preparing a taco bake. It's kind of a casserole dish for dinner, and I need some taco seasoning. And I prefer not to use the pre-made taco seasoning packets. I'm not singling out this one as one I don't want to use, but I'm not fond of some of the ingredients in the back. I have it on my shelf for an emergency, but I'd rather make my own. And I'm going to show you how I do that so that you can have a good economical way to have taco seasoning at your disposal very quickly and economically in your house. So here's how it goes. I am going to give you the amounts in the recipe below, so you can see I've got the suspects all lined up here. I've got their lids in front of them so I don't get them confused, but I'll tell you what I'm putting in as I go. Okay? Here comes my very favorite seasoning in Mexican food, and that's cumin. We used to call it camino. Cumin. Okay, next is chili powder. Unless you live in Southeast Texas, don't look for this brand. It's my favorite chili powder in the world, and my parents bring it up to me from Texas. Love it. Okay, pardon me for reaching in front of the camera. Next, we're going to put in paprika. Gives nice color. There we go. Paprika. What's next? Let's put in some red pepper. These are red pepper flakes I ground myself. They're smaller than the red pepper flakes you would find in the store. You can look in the recipe, and if you're a person who doesn't like things spicy, although I don't think this is very spicy at all, but if you just don't like that at all, you certainly can leave it out. Here's oregano. I like to use Mexican oregano when I'm making Mexican food, and I find this in the produce section at my grocery store. Let's see how much of that I'm going to need. Here we go. And I'm going to, because the flakes on this are kind of big, some of the spices in the Mexican section are kind of cut kind of rustically. These are pretty big flakes. I'm going to put this in my hands, and I'm going to grind it with my hands. That makes it much more fine. There we go. Let's put the oregano back. Now some of this delicious homegrown, home-ground garlic powder. Here we go. Oh, smells so good. And let's see what comes next. We're going to do some onion powder here. Get my spoon to be sure I got that off, although almost everything I use onion powder in, I use garlic powder in. There we go, pardon the dinging. And then some salt. Get some salt out of my salt cellar. And then some black pepper, and this is going to take just a little bitty bit here. In fact, I may do some of that off camera for you when we get done. Now, the only other thing you can add to this, and it just all depends on what your taste is. You can add dried cilantro to this. You can also add coriander. Coriander is the seed of the cilantro plant, and it tastes very delicious. So if you want to put a little coriander in it, you can as well. But what I'll do is I'll list the basic recipe for you down below, and then just give you the option if you want to put some what can I think? Some coriander or some cilantro, that's what I couldn't think of, or some cilantro flakes in there, you certainly can. Could you put some dehydrated onion in here, kind of crushed up dehydrated onion? Sure. Could you put some freeze-dried garlic in here? Sure. This just happens to be an all-ground version. It's all ground up. There's a little piece. Sometimes, you know, I told you that Mexican oregano is kind of rustic. There's a little large bit in there. Okay. That's how it looks. Now, the other thing I need to tell you is that these packets that you typically use have a little bit of flour in them. And what that does is that tightens up your ground meat that you use for taco meat. It gives it a little bit of a gravy, a little bit of a thicker gravy. So if you like that and feel that you need that, you can put just a teaspoon or so of flour in here, and it will do the same thing. It will tighten up your taco meat. I don't particularly need that, so I don't put that in. Okay. And so here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to take an old clean jelly jar and my funnel. I hope I'm not too close to the camera. And I'm going to spoon that in. I think I just made a mess. That is not unusual. Shake it just a little bit. There it goes. Okay, I'm going to see if I can hold this up and do it this way now. I have no idea what you're going to be seeing on the camera when I upload this thing. Here we go. There we go. Okay. And now I have a jar of taco seasoning mix right there. If you want to just cook the typical packet like you would normally use a packet of this, then you use between 2 and 3 tablespoons based on your taste. I would start with 2 tablespoons, taste my meat, and if you want a little more seasoning that, add 1 more tablespoon. But these are more than $1 a packet. Of course, I never pay that for them. I wait for them to go on sale. But regularly, they're $1 a packet. I just made this for pennies. And I can make a double batch and put half of it in the freezer. Then, you know, when my jar gets empty, put it in there, and it's absolutely fresh. But I wouldn't steer you wrong. If you've tried my ranch dressing mix, you know when I'm talking about homemade mixes, I know what I'm talking about. So give this a try, save yourself some money, keep all the preservatives and additives out of it, and I promise you, you're going to like it. It's amazing. Cat's Cradle.